Parks Commission meeting Tuesday, October 18th, 4 p.m. at City Hall, Greenwood. Gary, would you take the roll, please?
Yeah. Cinda Bell. Here. Kay Headley. Here. Jennifer Travis. Here. Brandon Tate.
Here.
Otis Edwards.
Here.
There is a quorum.
You all received the minutes. We get a motion to approve minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. We got a second.
Ms. Bell.
Yes.
Ms. Headley. Ms. Travis.
Yes.
Mr. Tate.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Committee reports. Freedom Fest.
Nothing to report.
Trails Committee.
Nothing to report.
Tree and Plant Board.
The only thing I have to report is that I had communication from Rod Powell that he's picking up the trees Friday, and everything's set up to go with the tree giveaway. Mr. Meeker's gonna help him with it, Tree 54.
Is he setting some trees aside for what was removed by the street department
Are you talking about
on the trail?
which trail, what section?
Over by Versus Clinic.
I saw something about that.
I
I'm
think
not
that-
familiar with what happened, but
Yeah, the trail going to
he was
Liberty.
gonna have some extras, I think, so maybe we can utilize it that way.
Haven't we already bought trees for that?
Not yet. May I? May I approach the bench?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm probably wondering why I called this thing. So what he's referring to, if you didn't get to see I know all of you stay home up and wait to watch YouTube on this council meeting, so that's what everybody needs to do. But anyway, it was brought to my attention by a scout the other night at the meeting that I say we, the city, during the construction of the new road over at Mercy, destroyed all of the trees that were planted as a scout project. Very much had no idea until he stood and told me, so that's fine. So I encouraged, in fact, the scout that was here talking about it wasn't his project, it was his friend. So they both came to see me yesterday and I encouraged them. They brought in their all the documentation from the project. They planted 15 trees. It was initially announced that they had planted 50.
Yeah.
And I kind of gulped and like, really? Anyway, it turned out.
I think his dad changed that.
Yeah, his dad was in the back. He goes, no, you didn't. Anyway, they planted 15. So they came back yesterday and we had a really good visit. And I said, listen, we're going to fix this, put it back. But if you want to be involved, and he does, they're going to replant. But I sent them up to Sharon's to get the price of what they wanted to plant and what maybe they had planted. And they did, they had it listed, and they're a mixture, as you know, Rod, well enough. It's willow oak, water oak, I think a couple of maple and a shoemark oak and bur oak and things like that. So, but I wanted to get the price and see what it would cost to put back a substantial tree. Not that the ones they're giving away won't be good, but they're going to be, this tall. So I'm looking at about $4,900 for those 15 trees, because they're going to be I think some of them are 3 to 4 inch calipers. So they'll be nice trees. So I told him I could do that. I think Casey even offered, I don't know, probably won't have to, but we've got the money to do that. And so we're in the process of having those guys come back. We're going to organize it, make sure with the contractor out there that they don't have to get back in that area. It's about an 8-foot wide green space between the trail and the road. So we want to plant trees and then have to do it again. So we're going to make sure the contractors are out of that area without any danger. So anyway, we're going to get those back in the ground for them, and they want to be a part of it, which is good. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Might be better off holding off this spring.
Yeah, fall technically is the time to plant, or a good time, but if it doesn't cool off and it doesn't rain a little bit, it's not great. So I'm gonna lean on Sharon's quite a bit on that, but you're right. I mean, you don't want to spend $5,000 and they don't make it either. So
I have a question.
yes, sir.
By us purchasing from Sherm, do
Yep.
we get that year guarantee?
You get, I think it's 90 days anymore. You don't even get a year, isn't it? It's not as like it used to be.
We used to get a year.
Yeah, it's not, just like everything else, it's not quite. I think it's 90 days. So, and it may be a little more on these are bigger
Yeah,
trees,
I just,
but there'll be something, but it's at least 90.
I was curious.
So
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Could we get the microphone on?
It is on.
Is it not on?
Yes, it's on.
It is. I just wasn't over into it. There you go. Sorry. You want me to repeat myself? I'm sorry.
From the beginning, take it from the top.
There you go. Okay.
Any items to add to the agenda?
Yeah, on the tree thing, one more time. We are not, Jeff
Get to the microphone, please.
Sorry. So there was one tree that we planted. I've been putting those Yoshina cherries around town, trying to get some color. And it's wonderful when they live. They're not real hardy, doesn't seem like. We lose them. So the one at the corner, in case somebody was wondering, we had put one in front of the edge. There is still one there. It's thriving, but the one next to the light in front of the edge it's not going to, we've tried 3 times and it's just not working. So we're not going to put one back there.
Is that the one that got broken down several times?
It probably, but it just didn't survive. So we're going to leave that empty. The rest of them, there's 2 in front of Farmers Bank that were planted this year. They're holding on for dear life. I think the one in front of your office and AC's making it finally. So if they get through a year, they're usually okay. But if they don't last the first season, then they're done for. So
Was the estimate $4,000 for the replacement trees?
4,900 and some change.
Now they're bigger trees, aren't they?
They are.
Than the tree giveaway.
Yes.
So
Much bigger.
that's also a difference.
Much bigger.
Yeah, because if you
We-
have some left over from the tree giveaway, they're just little bitty, but the ones that were destroyed were big, right?
Correct. Well,
These
they
are
were
30-gallon.
they were planted as 2-inch caliber, meaning they were there probably a year. So they got to be 3 or 4 inch. So I personally would rather put something back
I think that's
substantial.
a good
And
point
the
to
3
make.
ones are good. It'll just take a while.
a lot longer.
And they could come back and if we go to buy the 15, there's room for other trees. They could still put some of those extras there. So, yeah, but I just want to keep, I think that's the only spot in town that we've,
I'm not sure the county ones are going to survive.
yeah, they're iffy too. I don't know. I hate to keep buying Yoshina. I love them. I think they're going to be gorgeous if they'll make it, but after a while you just have to realize what's going on. So
What kind of trees are at the tree giveaway?
those are going to be willow,
Oaks.
I think willow and Shoemart, all oak.
If we had extra, would that be any good at the lake where the trees were clear cut?
That's one thing that we had kind of discussed.
Yeah. Those trees be great. I mean, even back here, they've at the past, the scouts have come back and planted a few extra that they had left over here. I'm pointing back here by the trail or wherever. Yeah. So anyway, that's my tree stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. No agenda items to be added. Go into the finance director discussion on the Parks 2025 budget.
Let me give you some basic discussion points first before you get into the budget that you want to copy of.
Can you grab the microphone? Will you grab the microphone so that Kay and Yeah.
Thank you. Would you just make sure where's the old one?
I think it's in the drawer.
We
We
need
need
to
to
see if
try
we
to
can
do an
use
A and
that.
B.
Because then I can just put one up here
Yeah, I agree.
because I need to run both. Okay. I'm going to give you some talking points first to show you a little bit about what's going on with the budgets. I did receive an updated version of the budget and put those numbers into what you have in front of you, but then I'm going to turn it over to Casey in order to be able to answer any questions and talk about what's in the budget and why. And there are certain items that the placeholders are there with the 2023, 2024's budget number, but the 2025 number is not yet put in there because I don't yet have the calculation for health insurance, for instance, as well as some of the other insurance factors. and the AML dues just came in, and we have to allocate that to every department and then roll in the number into the 2025 budget. So those placeholders are there. There is a number, but it is a low number, most likely. So the first thing I wanted to do is show you up on the screen, if I can bring it back up. Where are you? Here we are. Okay. I wanted to show you the COLA. So the national COLA was set last week at 2.5%. And the state of Arkansas has responded. They are, not the state of Arkansas, but all the states are ranked as a comparison of the number that went into the nationals 2.5. Obviously, some states and some municipalities and some locales are much higher than the national average. Some are much lower than the national average. And that's why the average is 2.5% in the nation. State of Arkansas is 92% of the national average, which would make the state of Arkansas's COLA, cost of living increase, 2.3%. And then I gave you a list there of the cities in the state of Arkansas, what their comparable number is to the national average. And you see Fort Smith is 13% down. The national, Arkansas is 92% or 8% less than the national average. So you're looking at Fayetteville at down 8%, Springdale down 8%. All of the major cities in the state of Arkansas that they have listed there are below the national average. So that's factoring into the state of Arkansas's number. So that's the national average and the Arkansas average. Now you could literally take that down to the city of Greenwood's average. They do this also by cities. And the cost of living for the city of Greenwood, Arkansas is 13.3% lower than the national average. And that would put the COLA, if we rated it, if the city council hears and wants to entertain going to the cost of living for just Greenwood, it would be 2.17%. Now, the reason that I don't recommend that is because a lot of our employment base is not living in city of Greenwood. There's people that live in Oklahoma. There's people that live outside of this area. And setting a COLA based on the living here in Greenwood doesn't really impact our employees 100%. So they all live in the state of Arkansas with the exception of a couple that live in Oklahoma. So the cost of living in Greenwood increased from 2024 or from a year ago's November to October time period. We're up 1.2%. The cost in the city of Greenwood's up 1.2%. The largest increases are in transportation, food, and housing. So obviously that's probably what the largest increases are across the nation too. And that's your gas, fuel, repairs, maintenance to your transportation as well. You look at the cost in the other major cities, San Francisco is 86% more than the national average. Washington, all those cities, those main major cities, are much higher than what the national average is. And cost of living in Greenwood, if you look at the categories that they talk about, energy, food, healthcare, housing, and transportation, you see where city of Greenwood is down compared to the national average in all of those categories. So if you were moving from San Francisco and you were coming to, let's say, Greenwood, you would achieve more than an 86.5% savings in the cost of you living there. So the question is, why do you live there? Just wondering. Come to Greenwood. So anyway, and then lastly, this is what the comparison would be if you move. Oh, yeah, that's where I was going. If you move from Greenwood, from one of these cities, you would be reducing your cost of living by 99% in San Francisco from what they are to the national average. 58%, Miami is 28%, Chicago's 25%, Boston's 66%. Even if you came up here from Dallas, you're 20% better off coming to Fort Smith, Arkansas. So economic development needs to know these numbers and start touting that. Just a thought. You do know that I did present this to the city council. I think Otis was at the meeting and saw this already, but the city Sales and use taxes are up 6.82% from September of 24 over September of 23. That's the month over month comparison. But if you look at the year, we're at 3.9% growth, 3.92. That's below our 4.5% that we actually budgeted, but I'm seeing the trend rising back up. City of Greenwood's city sales and use tax is faring pretty well compared to other cities. What's not faring too well, and it does impact you, and it impacts Parks's operating expenses coverage based on the revenue from county sales tax, is the county sales tax. In the September over September period, the county sales tax dropped 3.25%. Over the year, as you see, we are in a negative trend. I think it's like 6 months in a row now. We're down 0.5% almost in the county sales tax from January through September. That is, we're achieving less money being brought in from county sales tax than we brought in at this point last year cumulatively. So we're not even in a growth period. Right now, we're in a decline of 0.5%. And you're going to see that filter through because I've already made the revenue projections for the 2025 budget, and it is in the budgets that you have in front of you. And I even told them how that happens. Everybody wants to know, why is county down and sales tax is up? And that's because the county sales tax distribution is based on census. It's based on a per capita distribution of how many people officially from the 2020 census City of Greenwood has versus the total in the county. And the county's official census was 127,799. So the distribution of the sales tax that's collected for the county is distributed based on, in Greenwood, 7.45% of what's collected on that 1%. So last September of 2023, our revenue stream was 227,000. This year, it's 219. So you see the impact that it's having. Now, every single city within the county, including the county, had a negative 3.25% reduction in what they were allotted out. And that's because it's all for one for all, share alike. So everybody shares in that, in the surplus that they may have or in the deficit. So if there's a deficit, everybody shares equally that deficit. So I want to show you where that came from. The way we calculate how the impact is we look at the city sales and use tax, and there are two cities that don't have it. Lavaca has no city sales tax, and neither does Central City, but they're small players in this example. Barling has an anomaly going on right now. They had 3 major operations close in 2023 that were not operating in 2024. Thus, you see a big decrease in their city sales and use tax. That was CV's, Health Depot, and Rose Furniture all left. And the CV's was replaced with storage buildings. They now are storage units. So there's not a lot of revenue coming in from the storage operation, sales tax revenue. So when you look at it overall, Midland, Mansfield, Huntington, and Greenwood all had increases in their city sales and use tax. And the city sales and use tax stays in the city. In other words, it's generated from a tax on the purchases and sales to the city and in the city. So if you were to online purchase and have it delivered to your address in the city limits, that is favorable to our city sales and use tax. But if you look at the big player, Fort Smith, they had a 2.85% decrease. Now that percentage compared to Barling, when you look at the dollar amounts, that's significant because they're dealing in millions, not in hundreds of thousands. They're dealing in $4.9 million. So their decrease really impacts the rest of us. So you could have almost every city increase, but if you had Fort Smith really take a nosedive in their city sales and use tax, that impacts the county sales tax as well. And that's the September 24 taxable sales versus September 23 taxable sales. That's why I have these sales tax numbers out here. You take the distribution, you take what they're getting from the sales tax distribution at 2%, you can back into the taxable sales. So the $305 million is what the cities and the county doesn't have sales tax though, as far as that's concerned for city, but you can base it off the county number. County sales tax number is 1%. 305 million was collected in taxable sales, or not collected off of those taxable sales in September of 23. 295,000 was in the taxable sales for 2024. So there was a decrease of almost $10 million in purchases that were made and buying power of the people within the county from your city sales and use tax. If you were to do the county impact, it's 1% of that. So there's your 99,000, and there's the $7,392 the city of Greenwood lost as a result of the people not spending the same amount of money that they did from the previous year of September to this year's September's collection. And it was actually 2 months before that, if you were to think about it, because the money that's distributed to us in September came from July, which was July 4th, the Freedom Fest, everything that we had. That's why our sales tax numbers are up. We had a big event here and there was generated a lot of activity. If we could have just kept that $11,530 that you see right there in the county impact, that would have been great, but it's not done that way. It's not shared based on what you generated in your city. We go into that pot or that pool, and then it's distributed out of the pool equally based on your census to the total. So that reduction of 3.25 went back to us. So there's your 99. All these numbers tie, and they all come from the Department of Finance and Administration. But this is the thing I wanted to point out at the very bottom, which should be a little bit of alarm to me. And that is that in September of 2023, the collections that were distributable from all counties that went to the state was $655 million. And the September sales tax distribution for 2024 was $665 million. They went up in the state 1.53%, while the county of Sebastian dropped 3.25%. That means our county didn't do as well as other counties within the state. So where are they going to shop? Where are they buying? They're not buying here. Yeah, they're going up to Northwest Arkansas. They're going into maybe even Oklahoma, going up to Tulsa, going to Little Rock, or they're not necessarily purchasing online as much, and they're going back to the box stores. That may shift as the economy makes changes or corrects itself. However, that's a little bit of an alarming factor. So we're going to go ahead and budget our county sales tax next year flat. We're going to say there's no growth, and whatever we collect this year is what we're going to collect next year. So if we have growth, that's going to be gravy. I don't want to get in a situation where we're going to be 3 or 4% down. Does it make sense? Okay, that's what you're going to see on your budgets. And with that, I think I'll turn it over. You have an index in your packet. So on page 1 through page 5 is your operational budget. That's your parks operating budget. You have you have revenue stream, but you have no checking account for that. That's paid out of general funds. City sales and use tax is your monies that are restricted for you from the general side that you have accountability for, and that's starting on page 6 and 7. And then Parks A&P grant fund budget is starting on 8 and goes through page 9. And then your splash pad budget, which hopefully, I'm not sure, you're saying your cost may go into 25, right, Casey? Splash pad? You're probably going to end up making your final payments. So that's why you're going to see a budget for that. And then your inclusive park project budget has your $275,000 committed in that budget on page 11. So as he walks through these, he'll reference you a page and then you can ask him questions about it. But I'm going to turn it over to Casey and then I'll fill in as needed.
I guess I can just kind of reference the major changes as we go through, or what's been added. The new 19 acres in Bell Park, including the splash pad, it's going to take a considerable amount to mow. The rough estimate on it that I included was 15,000.
Have you spoken
I
to
was
Greenfield?
getting to that. I do have a quote back from Greenview, including the current park property and that new 19 acres. Same contract arrangement. It's 51,000 and some change. I spoke to Danny, and I can't remember Danny and Caleb. I can't remember the name of the company, but he should have me a quote back in a couple days for them to provide this similar service for that 19 acres. But
Suggestion, see if you can lock them in on that price for 2 years.
okay. Yeah, I mean, they sent a proposal back. I didn't look at the specific date range on it, but yeah, if
That's what we did 2 years ago. I got a question for you.
yes,
You're going on the pavilion rental to 50,000.
is this revenue,
Yeah.
right? That's what the price changed.
You budgeted 40 for this year. You're at 34.7 as of October 11th.
Mhm.
And you think you're going to get it up to 50?
I do, yeah. With we've doubled the prices from Sunday through Thursday. We have an extra $50 included in our cleaning fees now, so that we're actually earning some revenue off of those cleaning fees instead of breaking even. And then also we've raised the prices for the weekend, the Fridays and Saturdays, from 75 to 100 an hour. I think those extra revenues are going to make up about 10,000.
I got one other question. I looked at the bottom line is a negative 182,000. Is that 162,000?
I think that's what primarily the capital improvement projects that we moved over to the operating. And then also there's a capital expenditure in there for another vehicle. And those are basically the items that would be the first things on the chopping block if there were issues. And those are on page 5, circle 5 at the bottom. So the expenditure item, that is basically, I do side by side, but it's an enclosed cab. So it's a mini truck, more or less. It has a dump bed. They can pull 4,000 pounds. They're cabbed, heated and air. So you can spend 20,000 to get, or 20,000 to get a nice side by side, or spend a little bit extra and get one that has full capabilities of a truck for $20,000 less than a truck.
What about the side by side you got now?
Side by side went to street because it was no longer operable.
This vehicle four-wheel drive.
4-wheel drive, locking differential, and like I said, it can pull a trailer of 4,000 pounds.
That'll pull our trailer with.
It's about all, yeah, it's about everything you need. Yeah, that's exactly it right there.
Oh, yeah.
The good thing about it is they're extremely lightweight. They can drive on those trails. The trails we have are not meant for any kind of truck traffic unless it's an emergency. You stand a really good risk of tearing those trails up because it's just a thin amount of asphalt.
Hired 3 people to pick it up and take it out.
They're awesome little utility vehicles. That's the best part about it.
What's it weigh?
I don't know what the weight on them is, but they're small. It's just it's like a side by side with a cab.
It looks like it could go in the street.
It's street legal. Yep. Hmm. Yep. When we did the Trails Academy, rode the Greenway in Fayetteville, they were all over the place. It's what all those folks up there use to maintain trails. So last year, what I did inside, I guess the inside scoop was I had items in this operations budget where if city council had questions on them or things were getting tight, I was able to sacrifice things. So the capital and our operations side are those are the things that we can sacrifice
I'm
if
sorry.
needed.
Did I miss this? Is this a dump bed?
Yes.
Is it spring loaded or
Hydraulic.
hydraulics?
Yep.
Hydraulic?
Mhm.
And it's, what are we talking, 20,000?
27.
27,000, what's this? Side by side now going for?
About 15 to 20 for something that's serviceable.
Now this, side by side, would it accommodate an extra seat in the back? You know, you got a crew, if you're trailing, you can get, does it have a extra seat in the back?
No, this would
Behind?
just be for 2 people more or less.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be fine.
On the capital improvement projects, basically what you're seeing, the granted projects are break even more or less, right, Tom?
Well, up to your
Right. Yep. I would like to start paving the parking lots and start from the bottom and work our way to the top. The first parking lot there is the pickleball court. This is a rough estimate of how much it would cost to pave that first pickleball court. And then we missed out on some shade coverings for the splash pad. And I think that we had talked about that, being that the splash pad's not going to be done this year. Tom and I talked and decided it was best that we just push it off to next year. Unfortunately, with kind of the situation we're in capital wise, we just don't have the space to get it in city sales and use tax. And this was the most logical place that I could stick it outside of A&P, and that's pretty slim too.
Parks A&P grant fund, you're down to negative $12,000. Tom, what are you expecting on revenue?
It's up there. Your revenue is there, but it's budgeted. That is what I'm projecting for it. They just don't know yet.
So that gives you a negative $12,000.
That 102 is their proposed budget for revenue. It's 45% of what I'm estimating.
So you go in public relations, that's the Fall Fest, Freedom Fest, Fall Fest, Christmas.
Yeah, then
You're going from 80,000 to 88,000.
Are you actually thinking you're gonna get notified from A&P, or are you going after that for grant?
no, I don't think so. Yeah, that's just,
Page 8,
sorry?
on page 8.
Yeah, I'm there. I can adjust that. I can move some things around to make it work. It was just, that's an error in revenue on my side. For some reason, that got changed from mine to the new one.
Well, I control A&P's, which is what to do.
Yeah, but
You
that, if
projected a higher number.
that would have been told to me before I got in here, I would have been able to change it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, welcome to my world.
What's the,
I'm not being snotty about it. I'm just saying that I could have made those changes.
It's still negative, and what I think he's hinting at is that you have to have a balanced budget, which means your numbers have to match whatever that revenue stream realistically is projected to do.
Yeah, I think I understand that, but what I'm hinting at is that if I would have known what the revenue was or what we were projecting revenue to be for next year, I would have balanced the budget appropriately.
I think you were under, even with your.
No, this is flat.
Casey, the page 9,
Page
Yeah.
9.
Arkansas Highway Grant Project, 31,500.
Mhm.
Under A&P Parks,
Right.
what is that?
That's the grant for the Bell Road sidewalk, that old grant, and paving Bell Park from Main Street to the pickleball courts. That's that old TAP grant that is still kind of in limbo.
You got a sidewalk right now from Main Street to the pickleball court.
Sorry, from the pickleball court to the top of Bell Park.
That's on hold, or we don't know.
It's on hold. What,
Is it
because
easement?
that grant is, that grant was only for $131,000. And the project, now that it's been sat on so long, there's no way that we would be able to make it work, even with like 4 or 5 foot sidewalks.
That sidewalk on the south side or north side?
North side of Bell Park Road. So what I've been pitching around is potentially asking them to revise the scope of the grant to where we can use it as a master trails plan, because they do include planning in those grants and the RDOT grants. So they would fund for us to have a brand new master trails plan.
Is the north side where you need is easement? Where's the sidewalk going, north or south side?
The north side of Bell Park Road, yes.
And then wasn't there a problem with an easement?
I think the problem right now is that we don't have enough money to complete the project.
We got the easements and it's ready to go.
You don't have enough money. You don't have enough money to get the sidewalk on Bell Road done.
Oh, I understand that, but we have, if we was to come up with the money, we could go.
No.
Okay. Let's keep.
Yeah. You don't have it engineered it's not engineered all the way.
No.
No.
We're gonna lose that 100,000?
No,
31,000?
it's really hard to lose an RDOT grant. The only thing you have to do is stay in communication with them. Make sure that they understand what you're doing with their money, even if you're just sitting on it.
Don't you relatively consider that priority? Because there's nothing like trying to drive up that road with two people with baby carriages and 3 little 6-year-olds behind or whatever. Every time I drive up that road, I just cringe.
No. I mean,
That would complete the whole thing. if we get
it
that.
would complete the loop, but we also, it would be halfway done because the grant doesn't
Yeah.
provide.
Can we rewrite for more money? Is that what you're saying? You could
Absolutely.
Ask for more money?
Yeah.
Let's be in a position to actually do the project.
I know.
Before we go asking money, let's make sure that what we ask for.
I got to talk to Whitney with RDOT. I said, I'm kind of bashful asking you for more whenever we still have 2 that are open, both RTP and TAP. And she told me no. She said, keep trying. She said, we can always give you more. So next year when the TAP and RTP grants, whenever those pop open again, we'll
Okay.
put in for
Thank
both
you.
of them.
Question for you while you're on that page. The public relations,
Mhm.
7 for fall, 7 for Christmas in the park, Freedom Fest 74.2, and that makes up your 88.2 that you have presented to me. But I noticed there's nothing in there for movies in the park.
Yeah, so we've actually talked to the school, and the school is able to apply for licenses. And if you're with a school, you get the license for the entire year. It's $500. The backup plan to that was to use local businesses to sponsor those, and that's what we've had some success with in the past.
I just
The
wanna make
past-
sure you didn't forget.
No, yeah, the past 2 movies in the park were sponsored by local businesses. They covered the the fees, the licensing fees to show those movies. And we just threw their business name up on the screen and we were able to break even. So especially if we had the 500 from the school, we would just have to have a couple local businesses sponsor.
I have a
That would
question
be
about the
pretty easy.
concessions. Did we initially spend some money to put concessions in? And
Mhm.
where did the money go from that? Did we ever reimburse the city?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Good, good.
And I don't think that that's going to happen anymore. That was
Didn't work
just
out.
too much of a headache.
Yeah.
And it was a liability on me. I'd rather have a food truck come up there and set up or
Oh,
let
yeah.
the local clubs figure it out.
That's way better.
Yeah.
Good.
Let me look at capital. I think Tom pretty well explained the capital. Oh, there is one capital. It's on page 7 of city sales and use. So line item 65400, maintenance and repair other. This is a line item that is specifically for emptying holding tanks at Bell Park. So the 2 porta potties or semi porta potties that are up by the playground, we pay to have those emptied monthly. And then we pay to pump the holding tanks at Bell Park. It's turned into a lot, like an absorbent amount. So part of capital for next year, Travis Hawkins, I've worked with him and he has a septic tank person that he trusts. He's told me that we can put some lateral lines up there coming off those holding tanks, and it's going to save us a substantial amount from having to have them pumped. He told me it was going to cost $3,500 to put lateral lines in, and it'll likely save us.
You gonna try drilling through rock?
That's what he said. He
Just
said
bring the holding tanks into a septic tank?
more or less. Yep. So we'll have lateral lines that run off those holding tanks. Whatever we need, we'll get it. He told me 3,500 and I put 5,000 in the budget. If for some reason we get up there and the ground doesn't perk or we have issues in general, we'll take that 5,000, we'll put it back into the other line item, and we'll be even where our budget was before.
Where are the septic tanks?
You know where that access driveway is? On the north side of the building?
Mhm.
There's 2 manholes right there. And if they're really full, you can tell.
So they're gonna go toward the road? Or they're gonna go?
Are you asking like where the lateral lines would go?
Yes.
Yeah, in that grassy area.
Will it be long enough?
They're confident that they can make it happen. I am not a septic tank lateral line expert, and they are.
So that's just to take care of the Ed Wilkerson Pavilion.
That's correct.
And there's rock up there.
Okay.
Again, he told me he can do it.
He's got, he should know, Travis should know, and I make sure he said.
Oh yeah.
That's your biggest.
Yep. That'll be, I mean, they have to do a perk test before anything happens. That water has to be able to go into the ground before they put anything in. I promise we will not end up with a big cesspool in the middle of Bell Park. Yeah, we'd have Fort Smith complaints, wouldn't we? So that's the only major thing.
Any other questions?
What's the prognosis on completing the Closer Park project?
I have a meeting with
I'm wondering
them.
If that 275,000, you really think it'll be committed and paid 25?
I'm going to try really hard next year to have at least some phasing done on that. And I think 225 would get us pretty close to our first phase.
Of the 275.
275, sorry. I think would get us really close on our first phase. I did find out that we were not selected to present for the state grant. I guess that was just super competitive this year because the only points I missed were that we had an open project in the splash pad. So we missed out on that one. That was 250 that we lost.
Are we approving the budget today?
No.
We're just kind of looking over it.
Looking at it, yep.
Gotcha.
No, you're not.
I think
We're not anywhere close.
we're still ahead of the game though.
Okay.
What page are you on?
On this city sales and use tax budget that you see there, the two items in red, one of them you do see on your monthlies, but the principal is on the balance sheet, but it is paid out of city sales and use tax. So your principal for the loan for 2025 would be 137,181, and your interest will be 35,770. So whatever dollar amounts that are on the financials that I present to you, when you look at the fund balance is actually being reduced by the principal amount. So on my balance sheet, I have always been able to tell you what you have left owed on that loan. That balance is a hard balance. So that's why I add that back into there. What else? So the 604,000 that you're spending more than what you're bringing in, your deficit is largely made up, and it could be different. You could see this 605 roll into this year. We could actually have that transferred over in 2024, because that's what you guys approved to be transferred from city sales and use tax when we were discussing bringing your balance down to $225,000 in that fund account. That's what you need in order to make your $1.6 million or whatever the total was complete. And you see that if you go to your splash pad budget, it'll be in there. You'll see it coming in from the splash pad budget. But with this current budget that you have, you're looking at 140,000 if everything plays out exactly like it's on here. And that's not even a hard set budget yet. You're looking at your balance being reduced to 140,000, which is below the 225 threshold that I'm comfortable with. But he's moving as much as he can to other places. The problem that I have is that if you go back to the Parks Department, Joel mentioned about the fund balance. This is your total all-in funds. You are responsible for funds of the city sales and use tax, parks A&P, splash pad, and the inclusive park. These are all net amounts that come from your specific restricted projects. You also have parks operations, which is funded by revenue streams that come to you for the purpose of operating your department. But it also, surpluses go back to the general fund, and deficits are made up from the general fund. And that $162,000 deficit there is, if you had to cover it, it would leave you with $800 or $750 if you're all in funds.
I don't think the mayor's going to, well, I don't think,
And he has no clue what the other departments are gonna put as a demand yet, because I don't have all those budgets.
well, the city council will strike it out.
That's gotta be looked at. And one of the things that's not in this 162, but it was in his original number, if you look at your salaries and you look at that page of the budget, I just gave you the COLA numbers. Intuitively, I think you actually budgeted 2.3% for COLA, and he put it in there. So his salary numbers includes a COLA. And I can't include that until city council says what the COLA is or if it's gonna be, and then I can put it in. So you have you don't have the worst case scenario here because the COLA's not in my numbers. I think your number was like 182,000. When you looked at it, because you had more money. But you were 156, I think. Yeah. But your salaries were higher.
Are those increases based on the current min-max?
Sorry?
Those salaries based on the current max?
Yes.
Well, the max is gonna change by the 250.
Yeah,
So the new max, the revised max on your far right-hand side of that, where it says revised max, this number here, that's with the 2.5% COLA that's been awarded by the government. You can see it's not in any of his employees because city council doesn't even know what we're looking at here yet.
that's all I got. You got anything else, folks?
I want to go to the budget for the splash pad
Okay,
real quickly. There you see that 2025 or 2024, depends on when you spend it, that 605 comes through transfers from the CSUP right there. And then below that, AMP is giving another 20,000 next year. So you actually have $40,000 once this money comes in 25. That will go to additional paid-in capital on your loan. So if you go down to the bottom of the summary of your funding, you'll see that what will be in that bank account will be $40,000 as of the end of 25, which eventually will be sent over to Farmers Bank as additional paid-in principal paid-in capital. So that balances that if in the end, that fund will be zero. That's the idea. So if you need less than the 605 to make it balance, then you're gonna bear that benefit. If you need more, you're gonna have to authorize additional CSUT monies transfer. And hopefully, you won't need more.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it's almost 1.6 million, but 1.594 is your, the whole project. The reason it's $750,000 loan shows 730 is because 20,000 is already there from the, AMP's distribution of 2023. That would make you 750, the balance goes to that.
when was the first principal payment made?
August of this year. So we initially, when you were looking at your city sales and use tax, right here, we were looking at your principal and interest payments being about $168,000, $67,000. But that was assuming that we got the loan in February. And we didn't get the loan until August, so you saved on that, and that's what you've spent so far as of today. 43,000 in principal, 20,000 in interest. And you realize that the loan is high-end loaded interest first, then principal. Principal gets more and more as the loan matures. And I'm still waiting, and I sent Teresa a letter on it. I don't have any equipment bill on any equipment. We paid only the property and the vehicles. So that's not in here. The placeholder for equipment is last year's number.
Casey,
Yes.
you have anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2, clerk treasurer, nominee for vacancy on commission.
Well, Joel announced last time or said that he will not be seeking another term, unfortunately. So we will have a vacancy at the end of this month. It's up to the commission to nominate people. Seeing as Gwen is an alternate member, would you be interested? You would? So if you have any other nominees, come with them. Otherwise, you can go ahead and
Make a
vote
motion?
to appoint Gwen or give it some more time.
You need a motion for that?
I would make a motion.
Okay.
All right, I'll second. Works for me.
We have a motion. Can we get a second?
All right. Yeah, we got Otis and Simba
Second.
there on that.
Okay.
And I'll call for the vote, of course. Ms. Bell,
Yes.
Mrs. Headley,
Yes.
Mrs. Travis,
Yes.
Mr. Tate,
Yes.
and Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
That's unanimous. So all it is I guess
Congratulations.
I will add it to the special meeting of the city council tomorrow evening so that they can confirm her so that she can begin November 1st because she can't begin until the council confirms her. And so,
Thank you. Item 3, clerk treasurer, appointment of new chair for my term ending November 1st of 24.
right. So, yeah, the term ends there. And so I'll take it that
I'll
Brandon,
make a motion that we accept Brandon's offer to be chairman.
you offer to be chairman?
Yes.
That's great. Brandon as chair, apparently. So,
We have a motion to accept Brandon as the chair. Need a second?
Oh, second.
Okay, thank you.
all right, Ms. Bell,
Yes.
Ms. Headley,
Yes.
Mrs. Travis,
Yes.
Mr. Tate,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Edwards. Well, that's unanimous. And so let's see, vice chair, does that stay the same?
No, that was the vice
So that
chair.
has to be changed. Unless Otis wants it.
Yeah, we got to change. So we need a motion and a second on the vice chair then. Anybody want to step up to be vice chair?
I will if nobody else.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion for Cinda to be vice chair?
I make a motion.
Brendan makes it. That's a K second. Ms. Bell
Yes.
and Mrs. Headley, Mrs. Travis,
Yes.
Mr. Tate,
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Took care of all that, huh?
Foundation reports.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Directors reports. Report.
I don't know if anyone's driven by the splash pad in a while. They did start running water and sewer from Main Street up the hill yesterday. The folks installing the splash pad apparatus or features have been there for the past 2 weeks, I believe. And I drove by this afternoon and saw the concrete contractor is there. So we should start to see concrete being formed up and poured. The inspector from Crawford told me that he was expecting to have concrete forms put up last week, early this week. So it sounds like we're running late, but still kind of according to schedule. They are still working on doing some clearing for the road. I think that they're about 2 to 3 weeks out on that. I talked to the electricity contractor from SWEPCO, and he told me that he's setting pins this week for his poles, and that they should be on site within 1 to 2 weeks to start selling electricity. The bridge we had built at Liberty Park is done. If y'all have not had a chance to go by and look at it, it is awesome. We do have some approaches that we need to still finish. Right now, it's not full 100% ADA compliant, and that obviously you can't roll a wheelchair over it just yet. But we have some ideas to get that taken care of. Michael Turner finished his scout project. So if you go to the trails at the lake, you'll see a kiosk over on the gravel parking lot. And then if you walk on those trails, they're all marked now. They all have little blazes on the trees, so you can see which trail you're on. He also put another kiosk up by the water plant, and there's a second scout coming behind him that will his project will be to push that fence. They're going to push that fence back, I think 20 to 30 feet. The gate too, the whole fence will go back, and he's going to finish the switchback trail that Trayshawn started. Last month we hosted 6 events at the pavilion. It was a fairly slow month, but I think this month is going to more than make up for it. I think that's all I got.
Any idea what's coming up for December as far as the pavilion,
What's coming up?
as far as bookings?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but I know that every weekend has a reservation on it except for 2 days. I had someone asking about it today.
So we're gonna have, as the parks, are we gonna do like s'mores at the top? Are we gonna do the Santa house?
Santa house,
Since
yes.
all this-
I'm going to let the fairgrounds do their thing.
Santa house?
Yes, on the Santa house.
Okay.
Had you spoken to Randy Mitchell? Because we got confirmation on,
I think everybody's talked to Randy Mitchell. Yes.
well, he confirmed with Richard and with Tammy.
Randy was told to give me a list of the things he needed, and he never responded to me.
Yeah, he'll be giving you a list.
So as soon as I get a list, I'll have the things pulled for him to come pick up, or I'll deliver them with our guys.
Good.
Are we ready for Halloween? The Halloween trail?
Ready for Halloween?
Yeah, it's happening.
I was
Are you talking about like the maintenance of
the
the
maintenance where
walking trail?
the walking trail and
Yes,
everything,
we have a plan for that. I'm going to get past this Saturday, and then I'll be all Halloween trailed in.
and grass cut down and
Yep.
all
The works.
the
I
works.
would say the RDOT, I spoke to RDOT, not RDOT, actually, Fortune foreman, and he's going to, where the new Main Street connection goes across the trail. If you go over there right now, you're thinking that's not gonna work because they built that up quite a bit with the shell as they're supposed to. But they're gonna come back and bevel that out for us, so it'll be as smooth as possibly can for those folks to get over the trail off the Main Street connection, so. He's well aware of it, I'll have to remind him a few days before Halloween.
So we're gonna basically do what we've always done, take school
Yes.
buses and dump them at Zachary Park and then come on in to the,
Yeah, they'll
Yep.
City Hall, we're gonna do Willy Wonka, if anybody wants to be an Oompa Loompa, I've got openings. I'd love to have, or if you want to be the Blueberry Girl, whatever that thing is.
That's the
It'll-
play this
it
year.
won't be Really big, my anniversary from falling off the ladder is coming up the day after Halloween, breaking my elbow, so I'm gonna try not to do that this year. Decorating, we'll do Willy Wonka in here, and then they'll go from here out that door, over to the fire station and finish up with the trail. So,
We should have done Beetlejuice. It's on.
I know. that's
Right
what
now.
we're-
Don't say it 3 times.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Idea for the future.
Once this weekend gets over with, it might be kind of nice to put on social media our new bridge. Let people know
The bridge?
the covered bridge. Take pictures.
Some of those neighborhood parks.
Yes.
It's all-
That'd be a great
it's-
opportunity.
It's on there.
It's on there.
Yeah, you can click a YouTube playlist and you can watch the whole thing being built.
Well, that is, I've watched that, but it's also kind of nice to see it on Facebook that it's completed. People
Okay.
don't always.
Gotcha.
May I make
And-
a suggestion on that?
There we go.
May I make a suggestion on our new bridge? Let's promote some weddings there. I mean, that's where they gather up at the lake and that bridge. But if this bridge is everything you say it is, and I haven't had a chance to walk it yet. But
Well,
I thought, we'll know we're successful if we have a wedding.
well, also, homecoming was a couple of weeks, or it was last week, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Last week, a lot of people go to Fort Smith
I know.
to go to
I had that
the
same
Chaffee
thought.
Crossing, and I would like to promote. We have the bridge at the lake.
Yep.
We have this new bridge here. We have everybody knows about Bell Park, and there were some pictures of Bell Park and stuff like that. But maybe promote around not Valentine's Day, whatever it is.
Something events.
Homecoming,
Yeah.
prom, some places that people can go because it got a little crowded. I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But,
Because you were out there, right?
Huh?
You were in traffic crossing.
I was.
You were one of those offenders.
I was carrying stuff. But you could do pictures here and then off to eat, something like that. Food, yes. Well, I don't know about that, but
We don't have the white marble fountain. Chevy Cross. Yeah. There's. Do y'all want the budget discussion to vote on your budget next meeting? Do y'all want it back on an agenda for the next meeting, or don't y'all usually vote to accept it?
Depends on whether or not he'll get
This
his,
wasn't even designed to be that. We're not anywhere.
I don't think that
That's
was-
a work in progress because of there's a lot of numbers that I have that are not in there.
Do you not want it on the next agenda?
I would want it on the next.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
discussion, but it's not necessarily-
Okay. I'll add it to the next agenda.
You headed out tomorrow for your meeting? Aren't you having a director? What's his thing?
Didn't you already have it? You already had it.
Already had it.
Now, tell me about this license you're after.
Oh, a playground safety license, just to be a playground safety inspector, so I know if
Okay.
kids are safe.
I didn't even know that you're required to do it every 6 months or.
Not required. I don't think y'all require me to do it. It's just something that
Yeah, that's fine.
seemed like a good idea.
Hell, it backs us up if somebody gets hurt.
Oh, I guess I can be sued though.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
You're the playground marshal.
Yeah, pretty much.
at this time,
all
I
do.
would like to make a
How is
comment.
our parks holding up just, I taught school, so the juveniles. How's our park system? Are we had a little trouble with our Boy Scout park there for a while, and then are we having any issues with that? I haven't noticed it.
You talking about
Oh, with like
vandals?
hoodlums?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be polite.
Yeah. I mean, someone broke a basketball goal not long ago.
Yeah, you got-
To me, I just think it's pretty standard stuff.
I know we haven't
Someone-
ever discussed this with the group at all, but we certainly need a pickleball court, 100% plus a basketball court detached.
Yeah, there are demands by the pickleballers to expand our courts, and I just heard another demand. And resurface for some reason the pickleball courts, whenever they were made up there, they were just painted over cracks, and it adds another layer of difficulty whenever you're playing pickleball and the balls are bouncing. You have to play the crack. Those are in master plans, yeah. I think, but it's just an expansion. I don't know which direction we would go. But those plans were made.
In the same location.
The
Yes,
building
yeah,
right behind what. is
yeah, more than
existing.
likely, yeah.
Well, is that we're gonna separate the pickleball or join it all together and basketball. We're still doing, basketball's used a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's people playing basketball out there. I think it'd be nice just to keep it the way it is and then build more pickleball courts.
Oh, just, okay, that'll work. And if that don't work out, we'll take the current pickleball court and turn it back into a basketball.
There we go.
There you go.
Or vice versa.
Get rid of them
Kick the
cracks
basketball
for you.
guys out.
I hear the basketball courts are used, so we don't want to take that.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need to take anything away. 'Cause, man,
No.
goodness, we got,
Well, I'd like to make a comment to thank Joel for his long service on this commission since the beginning. And before that, a committee member. So thank you, Joel, for everything you've done for the parks and for Greenwood.
Well, I want to thank everybody that.
I'll second that, Joe. And I've really enjoyed working with you over the last 16 years or however many it's been.
Well, I appreciate you all, and I appreciate you all supporting me and being part of the commission. Over the 16 years, we have accomplished a lot. There's a lot more to go. A lot that this community has benefited by. The building of the trails and just about everything that's park related. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please attend the November council meeting too. It's gonna be a surprise, Joe, cover your ears. I'll recognize you at that council meeting too. He's typically in attendance.
So just send money. Don't-
Yeah.
In lieu of money.
Joe, we'll get you a gold watch.
There you go.
There's nothing else. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Thank you all.
The Joel Goldstein splash pad. It's your legacy.
It is a good one.
Can you hide it so when I forget it,
Yeah.
that I'll know exactly where it is?
Yeah. I'll put it-
Oh, man.
That's right.
So she can be taking my spot. So I need to start talking about taking care of Otis.
What? I don't, what?
Who's going to take care of you, Otis?
That's a good question.
Yeah.